New Year's resolution is just a click away. Go to Fiverr.com. Search within hundreds of architecture and interior design experts. Find the one and mark another New Year's resolution as done. Fiverr. Start now.
Oh, the music ended. Hello everyone. How's it going? Oh God. Okay. Hello, hello. Starting soon or whatever. We're starting now. Anyway. Drinking water. Okay. So guys. Oh wait, shit. Hold on. I'm getting a call. Literally, right now. Give me a second. Alright, everything's fine now. Sorry about that. I just, oh God. Apparently it's very windy. Oh God. And, some of the power's going out nearby due to the wind. Anyway. Sorry. Alright, so how am I feeling today? I'm a little bit tired, okay? Like yesterday, where I woke up in the morning, which kind of fucked up my sleep. It happened again, sadly, but not as much as the other day. So I am a little better, although, I don't know. Anyway, all that is fine. Is there anything else I want to say? Not really. Today, we are going to continue our deep dive through rigging. My deep dive through rigging. Okay, so yesterday was kind of like an introduction. A lot of the videos that I watched yesterday were kind of like either A, they were stuff that I already knew, or B, they didn't really go very deep into how to do things. They kind of just very broadly mention kind of how rigging works, which I think is fine. You know, it's been a while since I've rigged something, so I guess a little refresher wasn't too bad of, I guess, a start. So today, I thought I was checking something. So today we're doing a couple things. Number one, oops, well, actually I don't know if you guys heard that. Yesterday we watched an IK rig video. And so starting off today, we are going to follow along, at least in the beginning part where he sets up a basic IK, and then in the I think when he sets up the fully stretchable rig, I'll see what I need to do. I did mention this yesterday. At some point, he adds like a couple extra bones. I don't know if they actually do anything, but they are there. Actually, those bones seem to be there the entire... I don't know. Anyway, sorry. It might be beneficial to watch the entire video all over again, but at some point towards the middle of the video, he like starts going over one method to do things, and then he's like, yeah, let's do this other method. So he's like showing you different methods, and I believe the last method he shows us is the one that he recommends. So yeah, we're gonna do that first. Oh, okay, yeah. That one first, and then afterwards... God, that scared me. We are going to watch CG Drive, which was recommended by, I think Cryogi. Hopefully I said his name right. We're gonna watch some of his videos. The first one we're gonna watch is what's new in Rigify for Blender 4.0. Even though I don't know much about Rigify, I think it's still important, or will be important, to watch what changes there were for the latest version of Blender. And then after that, he has like a 3-step course almost on how to use Rigify for Blender 4.0. It literally came out like a month ago, which is really good. So it's up to date. Oh wait, let me save this video. This video looks cool. So yeah, that's basically our schedule for today. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to follow along with the Rigify course, I guess. videos, we'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, kind of just like the GeoNode tutorial stuff that I did a couple of days ago. I'm just playing videos, following along as best as I can, and yeah, we'll see how far I get. Um, yeah, that's it. There's nothing else here. Oh, shit, what the fuck? There's some white painting videos you can watch later on. Some animation videos, which, again, I'm not trying to learn animation right now, but since rigging is like the step before animation, I think it's still kind of important to at least skim through the videos to learn how someone uses a rig to make an animation. And then, what else? Did I say white painting? I think I did. Oh, and then we could go into, like, I guess, the more smaller stuff when it comes to rigging, like twist bones and using drivers. I might use those, I don't know. I think I should still watch the videos relating to those kinds of things in case I ever want to use them for something else, you know? All in all, it all looks very good, very interesting. So yeah, not much to report. Yeah, I was really tired. I was pretty tired yesterday. I feel like I should talk about this first. Otherwise, I'll get into it and I won't speak about it. We played some Fortnite yesterday. However, I was waiting for them to sort of be like, "Hey, let's get on." And while I was waiting for them, I ended up falling asleep. And when I woke up, um, I don't know. I just felt so tired. I don't know what I don't. I honestly don't know what happened. So I got up. It was still like towards the night time. Um, I just felt like I just been flashbanged. Like my eyes wouldn't open like all the way. And for some reason my computer was lagging. Either my computer was lagging really badly, or the fact that like I couldn't see very well made it seem like as if the computer was lagging. It was a really weird combination. I felt like groggy and very like disoriented, I guess. Um, everything it all fixed itself towards the end though, and then we played some good games and did really well, I think. Anyway, just reminiscing about things I've done. Other than that, though, I have nothing else to really report. I haven't really looked too much into Motion Studio, that thing. I really should, but yeah, it's difficult to find the time. I don't even know what I want to do with it, honestly. I have an idea of the channel moving forward. It's just I guess finding the time to sort of see the best way to do it. See if I should like do it in Blender, because you know, um, Blender is like a good overall thing, or if I should do it in Motion Studio, because you know it has like some of the functionality already predetermined, or whatever you would say. Anyway, sorry, I guess I'm trying to stall because I'm a little bit um I guess I was kind of falling asleep yesterday while watching this guy's video. Like I said, I was very tired yesterday. So I don't remember a lot of what happened. And I'm afraid it's going to happen again. But I am going to follow along this time. So there's a smaller chance of me getting, like, tired or, like, droopy-eyed. Especially since I will be doing what he's doing. Right. So anyway, enough stalling. Let's get started. Otherwise, there's gonna be like 10 days worth of rigging deep dives, and it's gonna be insane. Oh shit, let me put this up on screen so you guys could see actually. There you go. And now you guys can hear it. Alright, so yeah, I'm following along. Do what's best. I might skip the part where he starts going over one of the methods. I believe it's, he does the basic IFK. I think it's one of these parenting overreach. And then he does fully stretchable rig. Game engine friendly rig. Yeah, I don't know what's perfect. Oh, wait, let's maybe... No!
So to conclude, what's the perfect inverse kinematic rig? Well, I don't know, you have to pick one of them. The base inverse kinematic mechanism without IK stretch is the best for mechanical parts because your joints will perfectly follow, but when it comes to organic mechanism or organic shapes, then it's up to your animation style or your target platform, feature animation or game animation. This is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and I will see you in the next one.
Oh, shit. Okay, so he does go over... I don't remember seeing this last time. But, soft IK, fully stretchable. Not suitable for game engines. Probably not that one. I probably will do the second one he mentioned here. Soft IK with dampened track. Oh, yeah, we'll see. Let's go back.
This is the end
Oh my god.
of this. It's a never-ending quest, and it has been tackled many times. I'd like to answer this question today: what's the perfect inverse kinematics rig? We will use a leg as an example as it's the most common use of the IK mechanism, and I believe it's understandable by everyone. So let's get started. I pushed this rig way further in my rigging course, but here I want to focus on the inverse kinematics mechanism itself. I won't be building any foot rolls or corrective mechanism. You can download the Blender files to follow along on p2designacademy.com for free. Also, I'd like to let you know that I'm running an exceptional sales to celebrate reaching the 100,000 subscriber mark here on YouTube. Find more information in this video and in the video description below. As you will open the file, you will find two rigged legs, a simple bone chain driving the deformation of the leg, and a root bone. Those two rigs are identical and will allow us to compare what we are doing along the way. Let's build our simple inverse kinematics mechanism. I will select the foot bone in edit mode, duplicate.
Okay. What the fuck? I accidentally muted it. Okay, so he's doing it off his rig. I guess I was too tired to realize this, but these two bones on the bottom and top are there. As you can see, when you grab the bottom bone, it's the root bone. So it moves the entire thing. And I believe when you attach the top bone, he could bring it down and it forces the knee to bend downwards or whatever. Yeah. I was very tired yesterday. I think this is the last video I watched before I decided to move on to gaming. And so at that point, I was a little bit like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, type stuff. Like, I'm at the end of my rope for Blender things today. So yeah, sorry, let's continue.
The foot bone in edit mode, duplicate it and scale it down and
Okay, so I'm gonna use this one. I think that's what I used yesterday, and it worked decently fine. So he said duplicate it, scale it downward. Wait, what did he use again? Oh, he's using Yeah, there we go. Individual origins.
Rename it IK foot.
Okay. IK foot, and I'm gonna put a .l. Since I plan to move it on the other side, although I think he mentioned, and he might mention it again, obviously, duh. I think he made it so like the right foot follows the left foot, although maybe you don't want that all the time, obviously. Or maybe he just did it as a kind of like, so you could show both of the different, I guess, like, because this one's going to be different to the other leg, the IK rig that he does.
Now by default it's parented to the shin. So I will press Alt P and clear the parenting so that now this bone is totally free and
Wait. Oh, it's already totally free, right? It has no parent.
there won't be any cyclic dependency. In pose mode I will select the inverse kinematic foot, then the shin, and I will press Ctrl Shift C to add an inverse kinematic constraint.
Control Shift C. Did that work? Oh wait, I think I have to be in pose mode. Control Shift C. That didn't. I don't think that did anything. I think. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not either. Okay, it's Shift I to add an IK. Wowie. Oh shit, what the fuck? Oh, it snaps it to that.
I can immediately set the chain length to 2 bones, the shin and thigh bone, and test my ring.
Alright, maybe that place wasn't the best place to do it. Maybe it was this one down here.
Moving the controller. If I go
Because that messes the rig up. Lol. Hmm. Okay, I probably do have to set it up on the other bone. Alright, let's go into edit mode and let's delete this bone here. I'll duplicate this bone and shrink it. And then unparent it. I think I don't think he mentioned this, but I want to remove the deform, I think. Even though everything's already rigged. So I don't think it really matters too much, but... Okay, this is what I mean. Shift I. Oh, it already has an inverse kinematics. Okay, good. All I have to do now is just add the new bone, which I forgot to name. It's gonna be, what is this? What was it again? It was like IK foot dot L. IK. I think I spelled that 4. IK4. There we go. wonder why it's not working. Wait, hold on.
To add an inverse kinematic constraint, I can immediately set the chain length to 2 bones, the shin and thigh bone, and test my ring moving the controller. If I go in front view and I move it left to right, I get some weird deformation.
Yeah, it's not working. Is it because I turned off the form? No. How weird. Hmm. Oh, it's because I turned off influence, that's why. Okay. This might be. I forgot I did that. Oh, but now it doesn't affect the foot. How the hell did I do this yesterday? I honestly forgot. Because now it works, but it doesn't affect the toe, I guess. The toe bone. Oh wait, is it because these aren't attached anymore? Yeah, why aren't these attached? Weren't they already attached? Yeah, they are attached. What? Okay, hold on. How do I do this? Maybe like... Oh wait, I might have to go into edit mode, actually. Armature... Alright. There we go. Now they're connected again. I don't know why they became unconnected. Must have done something accidentally. I wonder if that fixes anything. Oh, perfect. Okay. So that was the issue. The fact that they weren't connected was fucking up the IK. So now it works as intended. Fantastic. Alright, sorry that took so long. Jesus Christ.
Because your knee is not supposed to bend sideways, but we can find specific inverse kinematic properties under the bone property. Here I can tell the bone not to rotate around the X and Y axis to solve the inverse kinematic mechanism. So basically allow the shin to only rotate around its local Z axis. And I know that because I built the rig, and if I display the axis, we can see that...
Oh, yeah, I did mention this yesterday. The way this is rigged, this is a Rigify rig. I believe it's not facing the Z-axis outward, it's facing the X-axis. So there we go, now it works as intended. Wait, hold on a second. Whew. Okay, sorry, let's continue. Oh, wait, shit, that was... I hit OBS, not the actual video.
I'm rotating around the Z-axis. And this is the best default orientation, because if you want to create a pole target, the X-axis of the owner of the constraint will naturally point toward the pole target. So basically I want my local X...
Interesting. Does it matter though? If it does matter that much, then I feel like I should... No, wait, hold on. Oh, I see. Because then it's like Z is pointing backwards, not forward towards the pole target. That does mean I would have to redo, or I had to unrig the foot to be able to rotate it like what? I don't even know how much. Wait, I just realized this only... Wait. No, never mind. Why is the fucking thigh bone like where it's supposed to be, but the I guess like the knee bone isn't. We'll see. If I do have to change it, then I will. But I guess I'll wait and see.
X-axis
I don't think he even goes over how to set up a pull bone. I think he's just about to mention it now that he's not going to do that this video.
is to point forward in the knee direction. This can be adjusted in the constraint, tweaking the pull target angle value, but that's not the point of this video. When I move the inverse kinematic control, the leg follows, but I don't have control over the foot. So I can first select the controller, then the foot, press Ctrl Shift C and add a
Okay. Select the controller first. Then the foot. He says Shift, Control C. That doesn't do anything for me. The keybind isn't there. Oh wait. First of all, this is wrong. Yeah, the keybind isn't there, so I'm gonna have to add the constraint manually, I guess. I think he changed it to copy transform later on, so I'm just gonna
copy rotation. Now the foot follows the rotation of the controller. And yes, you just heard one of my chicken in the background. But the foot is not following the location nor the scale of the controller. To fix that, I need to add a copy transform. And since the copy transform constraint also covers the rotation, I can get rid of the copy rotation constraint.
I set this to Regulus bones, set this to IK foot.L. And now the IK bone affects the foot stuff as well. As well as moving, it also affects the rotation of the foot. I guess in this case, the shoe.
And this is our very basic inverse kinematic rig. I just reproduced the exact same rig on the other leg. And what I want to show you here is what we call knee popping. As we get closer and closer to a full extended leg, the knee accelerates backward in a very snappy motion. And that's a common problem for animators. The solution you will find in most tutorials, including mine, is to enable IK stretching. Let's use a value of 0.05. Any value below 0.1 will give the same result.
Wait, sorry. Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum. Okay, selects the IK and it goes into the bone and turns on.
I will set this value on all the bone of the inverse kinematic chain, the shin and the thigh bone. So now when I pull on my inverse kinematic controller, you can see the leg getting big.
0.1 and this 1.1. I'll probably need to do that on the other side as well, but I'll see afterwards. Oh my god. I realized that like the fucking toe pick stays the same. It's only the leg that increases in size. That's really funny. Looks so dumb.
Bigger and bigger, so it's basically stretching in a way. Because when I think of stretching, I think of uneven scaling with volume preservation. Here the bones are just evenly scaling up. But we'll think about this later. Now when I move both controllers, you can clearly see the difference in the way the full extension of the leg is solved. and we get a softer motion on the left knee. With IK stretch enabled, the inverse kinematic mechanism changes the scale value of the legs along with rotating the different bones to solve the mechanism and basically follow the inverse kinematic target, what we generally call the inverse kinematic controller. The highest the IK stretch value used, the more scaling will be used to solve the mechanism, and so less rotation will happen. Values going from 0 to 0.1 have exactly the same behavior. So I was able to build some kind of soft inverse kinematic mechanism, generating a softer rotation of the knee. But it means that my leg gets scaled, and I don't want that. Here it's subtle and it's an organic shape, so it's fine, but on hard surface that won't look as good. To fix that, let's pretend that the left and right leg are the same, but we have like an inverse kinematic chain driving the deformation chain. To get the same behavior, I will add a copy transform constraint on the second foot, following exactly the same movement as the first foot in local space. And I want the same rotation behavior of the leg
When they don't follow these steps, this will
as
fail.
the first foot in local space. And I want the same rotation behavior
Okay, yeah, so this,
of the leg bone.
I believe this entire bit here is him going over a method that he ends up not actually going through.
As the one with the soft
Listen to
inverse
it though,
kinematic
again.
mechanism. So I can get rid of the inverse kinematic mechanism on the right leg and then simply add a copy rotation from the left leg to the right leg. When I move the left foot, my inverse kinematic mechanism, the right leg rotates the same way, but the foot follows the controller and we get a weird leg shape. To fix that, we can tell the foot bone to stick to the shin bone. To do so, we can use a copy location constraint from the shin onto the foot.
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward now.
Basically, what we need is to control the distance between our inverse kinematic controller and the root of the inverse kinematic chain. But you may not want to use a limit distance constraint. I tried different combination and it's not ideal because the distance is an absolute value and 1 meter on a human being and 1 meter on a ant won't look the same. What I mean by that is the limit distance constraint is prone to error or bugs whenever you want to change the scale of your whole rig. So we will prefer to use a limit scale instead. Our hips bone is the parent of the leg, so it will also be the parent of our scale bone. The scale bone will start at the root of the leg, so I can select in edit mode the head of the org leg bone and extrude it. I will rename it MCH leg length. But as long as you limit the distance, there will be a threshold where you will still have this pendulum effect. The only way to get rid of it is to not use a limit scale. It's to not use a limit at all. I know it's often reassuring for beginners to have this limit, but as an animator, I do believe it's the animator job to set the limit visually, assuming that we will face other problems. So let's solve them. Since I decided it's the animator's job to decide how much the leg should stretch, then let's get rid of the MCH leg length bone. And here comes a new problem. I still have my soft IK, but if I pull the leg, I get this weird inverse kinematic stretching that is more of an even scaling than a real stretching with volume preservation. How can we solve that? We will need a second bone chain. Select both leg bone, press tab to enter edit mode, shift.
Okay, I think this is the part that I want to follow. This is the part I'm going to follow for now.
D to duplicate them, and then shift H to hide everything. I will rename those bone MCH leg.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm in pose mode. I was like, why isn't it letting me, why isn't it letting me... Oh, wait, hold on.
IK and MCH shin IK.
MCH MCH leg IK. Leg. Oh shit. I didn't have Blender selected. Leg IK, and I'm gonna put like a dot L. MCH underscore shin underscore IK dot L. Alright, what's this? Alright, sorry. Rigging. Doing more rigging. Welcome. Zotic. Sorry, I was following a video, so I have to occasionally look at the chat to see if anyone's chatted anything. But yeah, I'm rigging. I'm following this video. I watched it yesterday, but I didn't follow it. So now I'm seeing how he does things.
MCH bones to another layer so that it's a little bit clearer. As always, I'm using the Bone Manager add-on by my friend Thin.
Another layer. I guess I can make another layer for this guy.
It's a must-have so far for rigging, as you can name the layers and it has so many functionalities. On our original chain, we don't need the inverse kinematic constraint anymore. Press Ctrl-Alt-C to get rid of it. Now, we need to enter edit mode and
Oh, really? We don't need it anymore? That's strange. I'll hide it like that and see how it goes.
duplicate those two bones and make them smaller. As I scale them down, I can see that they are still connected, so I will press Alt-P and disconnect the parents. They are still connected, so I will press and make them smaller. Automatic constraint anymore. Press Ctrl-Alt-C to get rid of it. Now, we need to enter edit.
Oh, wait, hold on. What am I selecting? Oh, I think he's, yeah, okay. I think he's looking at the new shin that he made.
Mode and duplicate those two bones and make them smaller. As I scale them down, I can see that they are still connected, so I will press Alt-P and disconnect the parents. They are still parented, but they are no longer connected. And I can now scale those new bones down.
Wait, what? Oh.
Now what I want is to parent
Oh. He scales them down quite a bit.
those two bones to our MCH inverse kinematic chain so that they follow the inverse kinematic movement. We can do that entering edit mode, and instead of using the Ctrl-P shortcut, we can go in the bone properties and under relations, type in the name of the bones we want them to be parented with. I like this way a lot whenever my rig is getting more
Alright, so what is it? MCH shin, and this one has to be MCH leg.
complex. If I now move the foot controller, we can see that those bones are following the inverse kinematic chain, but our original bones don't follow. So what we can do is
Oh, okay, I see now. So this one still has the IK. Oops. Hold on. However, the original shin no longer has the IK enabled. If I move this, then yeah, the new bones follow it, but the, I guess, rigged quote-unquote bones don't. Yeah, right. That's what Catless, the guy who suggested this video, said. He was like, this guy makes really good videos. Kind of hard to understand sometimes, but they're good. But are strong.
tell them to copy the transformations of those new bones. So let's first select the small bone, then shift select.
Alright, so let me, yeah, wait, hold on, what? Oh, let me move this up. So first select this bone.
The leg bone, press Ctrl Shift C and add a copy transform constraint. We now need to do the same with the shin. So let's select the small
What do you say, sorry?
constraint. We now need to do the same with the
Copy transform? Oh, okay. The keybind that he's talking about changed seams. Wait, what is this called again? Oh, it's just MC with the O1. H 1. And then this is MCH Shin 01. Right? Doesn't seem. Oh wait, what the fuck? To be following it. Wait, unless I misclicked. Oh, I think I did misclick. Yeah, I did. Okay. This one needs to copy transform. My bad. Was it RCH? Oh god, I can't remember what it was. This one. Oh, there we go. Now it's following it to a T.
shin. So let's select the small shin bone, then the shin bone, press Ctrl Shift C, add a copy transform constraint. And we're back to square one. When we move the foot, those new bones follow their parent, the inverse kinematic chain.
Alright. Yep. Back to square one.
And they influence the original bones. But we can now tell them to follow the scale of another bone, for example, the root bone, which
Use a copy scale targeting the root to prevent any scaling issues Benefit is you could still scale your whole rig, scaling the root bone. Okay, so he selects the small one.
Isn't scale at all. So let's add a copy scale constraint to those.
Okay, yeah. So he selects the small one, that one. Copy scale. I believe he uses the armature.
Small bone, targeting the armature and the root bone. As we do so, we're getting a critical change in our rig. So let's go ahead.
The root bone. Which one here? Oh, that's the root bone. Okay. I don't think the root bone was called root bone. It's called hips. Hips. I think that's what he wants. We'll see.
Select the second small bone and then add to it a copy scale constraint targeting the armature and the root bone. You can see that the shin bone is not following its corresponding small bone. And this is because a copy transform constraint doesn't override the location transform.
Alright.
Of a connected bone. So we need to select our original bone, enter edit mode, press Alt P and disconnect it. Now we do
Click on original bone. Hit Alt P and oh wait. Oh. Edit mode. Alt P and disconnect it.
we have some kind of separation, but we don't get a real stretching. Only
Okay, now it seems to wait. Does it seem to be following it? Pretty much, yeah. Yikes.
the knee and ankles are deforming, not the whole leg. And this is the final step.
Wait, hold on. Alright, sorry.
I will select all my bones and reset the pose. Press Alt R, Alt G, Alt S to cancel the scale, location and rotation of the bones. Then use the small shin bone to add a stretch to constraint.
Wait, what the hell did he just say?
Alt G, Alt S. The knee and ankles are deforming, not the whole leg. And this is the final step. I will select all my bones and reset the pose. Press Alt R, Alt G, Alt S to cancel the scale, location
Alt R
and rotation.
Alt G. He said Alt S, I think, but he doesn't actually do it. There's Alt R, Alt G. Oh shit, Alt R opens up my fucking drivers apparently. What the fuck? And Alt S.
Use the small shin bone to add a stretch to constraint onto the original leg bone. And then we can use our MCH IK.
Okay, what?
The small shin bone to add a stretch to constraint onto the original leg bone. And then we can use our MCH IK.
Stretch to. Okay, on the original leg, add a stretch to following the copy. Oh, the little one. Okay, okay. Let's see, the original leg. Add a stretch to the new shin bone, which is the shin 01.
Foot to add a stretch to constraint on this constraint onto the original leg bone. And then we can use our MCH IK foot to add a stretch to constraint on
MCHIK foot. Did I ever add that? I don't think I added that. I think he added that in one of the previous, one of the other tutorials that I kind of skipped, or the other part of the video that I kind of skipped. Because it doesn't have anything. So I could just easily just, I guess, add it by, just quickly name it to, what was it again? At MCH underscore foot underscore IK dot L.
onto our original shin bone.
Okay, so the shin bone has to have it. Yeah, I'm gonna delete the IK. I don't think I need it. Stretch to the, what's it again? What?
And voila, if I select my inverse kinematic controller and I move the foot, we can see that we can stretch it with a proper volume preservation. We can scale the foot and we still have our soft IK mechanism. But this rig as is can't be used for game animation.
Okay, this is the rig that can't be used for game animation, which is fine. I don't plan on moving this rig to game animation. At least if I do plan to do that, then I could just use the other soft K kinematics. See how it looks actually. Did I select the right one? Apparently I did. It doesn't seem to work though. What's going on? It looks so fucking stupid. Okay, I forgot to, I guess, include something here. One moment.
Because with bone stretching we get uneven scaling, and with uneven scaling we get a lot of bugs when it comes to game engines. Now we don't need 4 additional minutes to solve that. Instead of using a stretch to constraint, we can use a dumped track constraint. We keep the soft inverse kinematic mechanism. We can slightly stretch the leg as the bones will separate. You don't get volume preservation, but if you don't overstretch the leg, it looks pretty natural. And your game engine will thank you about this. Then to finalize the rig, I advise you to add a pull target. I'm getting a critical
Right, hold on. Let me see.
How can we solve that? We will need a second bone chain. Select of the MCH leg length bone. And here comes a new problem. I still have my soft IK, but
It's the IK foot doesn't have anything.
But if I
But when I move the IK foot, it doesn't... The leg bone doesn't move.
let's move the MCH bones and make them smaller. A copy transform constraint. We now need to do the same with the shin. So let's select the small shin bone, then the shin bone, press Ctrl Shift C, add a copy transform constraint. And we're back to square one.
At some point it stopped working. I wonder why. I don't think the MCH foot IK has anything either. Which is what's confusing about this. Okay. So the issue is that the neither the foot or the MCH foot follows the IK controller foot. Must have not done something right. Maybe let's go back and see when he added the new bone.
Is prone to error or the head and snap head bone of the inverse kinematics chain. Select my inverse kinematic, stretch to constant. Select my menu using Alt shoulder and one target bone, IK foot. And then I will parent it to the inverse kinematic foot bone. You can use the select menu using Alt right click.
Oh, I think that was it right there. The issue, I need to parent the new MCH bone to the did he use keep offset or did he use
inverse kinematic foot bone? You can use the select menu using Alt right click or Alt.
Oh, I think he did, yeah. There was keep offset right there. Alright, parent, make, keep offset. Okay. So now it should work. Yep, perfect. Good thing I watched this yesterday, because now I realized the issue, and now I'm able to solve it. Okay. So, yeah. Like you said, this allows a little bit of stretch. That is scaled nicely. So that, like, your knee doesn't, like, pop in. And with a little bit of stretch, it helps, I think, with, I forgot what he said it was. Oh, shit, I did it again. Okay, and then he adds a pull bone, which might be an issue, because apparently my, I think it's my knee bone, isn't facing the right direction that it should be, for a pull bone. But, we'll see, hold on. I think he goes here, where he adds it.
About this. Then to finalize the rig, I advise you to add a pull target. I just wanted to
What the fuck did he just copy? Oh, he copied the shin, okay.
save time not setting up.
Okay, apparently it seems like he's gonna do this fast. So, yeah. I think the way I did it before was did this. Click parent, I think. Go into here, turn off deform. I think I need to turn off deform on all of these, although it's already kind of rigged, so I don't have to, because they don't affect anything. I'll just leave it at that for now. This is the root.l. I also need to go back and rename a bunch of the bones that I made copies of, because I believe I really don't want to say, honestly. When I looked at this yesterday, this is the last video I saw yesterday, so I was pretty tired with Blender, and I was like, this is way too complicated. I don't know if I want to learn this. I could see the use for it. It allows, it's good for, like, animating, I guess. The knee doesn't pop. Like, I think you showed it in the beginning of the video. With normal rigs, when you stretch out the knee, it kind of, like, pops into place. Which doesn't look very good. Yeah, right. It allows the leg to stretch a little bit, which lets it look better, I think. Yeah, true. Most of my models are T-posing, or a sort of kind of A-posing. If you want, I could post a video in chat if you want to, like, save it. Pose brush sucks. Over. Alright. Yeah. I recommend watching it one way through, not following along, and then doing it again following along. That's what I did. I think towards, like, the middle here, this part, he, like, it depends. He shows you, like, a couple ways of doing it. I'm following the last way, which is, like, a non-game engine-friendly sort of rig, I guess. But it still looks good. But you do you. Do whatever is good for you.
Pull target on all the chains.
So if your dog's barking, they go crazy. Okay. Focus bones, and the pull target is the root dial. That's fine, right? Hold on. Yeah. Okay, good. 83.5, I guess. Fantastic. All right.
We just created. So to conclude, what's the perfect inverse kinematic rig? Well, I don't know, you have to pick one of them. The base inverse kinematic mechanism without IK stretch is the best for mechanical parts because your joints will perfectly follow, but when it comes to organic mechanism or organic shapes, then it's up to your animation style or your target platform, feature animation or game animation. This is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah. Pretty much summed up. All right. Let me rename some of these bones. Or at least let me check to make sure that these bones are labeled correctly so I can try to symmetrize it. No problem. Hopefully, you won't get confused. Left knee, MCH, shin, I feel like there's another bone here. Oh, there isn't. I thought there was 3 bones. Oh wait, there's 3 bones. This is a little one that I'm missing. Okay. I think he called this something different. Yeah, right? I hope so too. I don't know what he called it. I'm just gonna call it like a stretch. Dot out. Stretch. Dot out. Alright. Let's try to symmetrize it. I'm only gonna select the bones that need to be symmetrized. Just so that I can minimize, hopefully, the chance of... God. I might have to open the menu to do this a lot more better. Okay. Those should be all the bones that need to be symmetrized. Oh, and the root bone. Let's hope this works. Alright. Let's test it out in pose mode. It does not work. Okay. That's fine. What's the issue? Oh, I see what the issue is. This bone... The original bone doesn't have the right things. So it needs a... Isn't there a way to copy this? Maybe there isn't. It needs a copy transform and a stretch 2. Well, actually, you know what I could just do? Hold on. Set that back. I could literally just symmetrize it, and I think it should work. Wait, what? Oh, I'm in pose mode, that's why. Hold on. Symmetrize. Okay, now... The right knee should have all the bits, right? It looks like it does, but it also looks like it doesn't. Unless I made a copy of it. Hold on. So we have that one. Shin bone. We have the right knee. Okay, it didn't do what I thought it would do. It's colored yellow though, which means it has something. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong place, aren't I? I am. Okay, hold on. Hold on, I think the shin also is... Yeah. Let me symmetrize this as well. There we go. Now it should work. Let's test it. And with the root. Fantastic. Okay. It works as intended. I how UV images don't save when you crash. Is what it's supposed to say. Ooh, that sucks. Yeah. I form a, you form a, ugh. You form a habit of just like constantly spamming like the save. Unless you're talking about something else. Anyway, we're done though. With the legs at least. Working as intended. Why? Alright. Rigging again. Yep, I'll be rigging for the foreseeable future. A few days, most likely. Until I get what I'm looking for. No, but you do want it to stretch. It makes it look more natural. If it's too rigid, then the knee pops every time you stretch the leg out, which doesn't look very good. Apparently, when it comes to animating. So yeah. You do want it to stretch a little bit. Obviously, you're not gonna like stretch it that far when you're animating, but you want it to stretch a little bit so the knee doesn't pop. And stuff like that. Anyway. I'm just repeating what other people have said. So, did I save this one already? Hold on. Rigging stuff. Did this one? Oh yeah, I did save it already. Okay, good. I think there is, in the video we watched, I think there is a method that lets it stretch a little bit. It obviously depends on what you're looking for. This is what I went for. Also, it's really annoying to fucking select the fucking bone that you need to select. That's like one of the only issues, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So like I said, I'm going to watch this video, which goes over everything that's new with Rigify in Blender 4.0. Even though I don't know much about Rigify, I think it's still important to see the changes and or additions to Rigify that came in this newer version of Blender. And then I'll do his course. He has like a 3-step. I think there's like more steps, but I think in the other steps he talks about yeah, like animals and stuff rigging, which I don't really care about. So yeah. This is a pretty good, it seems like a pretty good course. It's brand new. 4.0 a month ago. So I assume it's pretty up to date. Kind of. It kind of depends on like whether your bone is like attached to the body or not. Because like this bone, oh, whoops. This bone is, so when I rotate it, it rotates the arm. But if I disconnect the bone, which I can't do it here. If I disconnect the bone, then I could stretch it. Ooh. Spaghetti hand. I think that's also what happened here. I think he made us disconnect the one of the leg bones. No. I don't think so, too. Yeah, right. I think the guy said that if you want like a mechanical animation with like I guess like gears and stuff like that, then the kind that stretches isn't the best. But with more organic stuff, it's not that bad. A little bit of stretch. There's a lot of funny things when it comes to animation. There's a lot of ways to like cheat. And different camera angles, along with stretching the body in weird ways to make things look good. At least from what I've seen in different videos. Anyway, I'm gonna watch this now.
Blender 4.0 has been released, bringing nice rigging and animation features. If you're not up to date, you can watch my previous video, which covers most of the new rigging features, except for Rigify.
Schmear,
So
yeah.
in this video, let's take a closer look at what is new in Rigify. Keep in mind...
Oh god. I can't... Okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about this. I can't hear the word schmear without thinking of like something else.
that this guide is for people who are already familiar with the add-on and want to get up to speed with the latest features.
I'm still gonna watch
For
it though.
complete beginners, I'm planning to reboot my Rigify Fundamentals series using Blender 4. So subscribe with the all option and you'll get notified as soon as it is released. Here is a quick overview of what is new with...
How do I pronounce schmear? What do you mean? It is. It's this one right here. I could post it if you want it. There's like 5 parts to it. An intro, rigging basics. I think the next part is like a rigging a simple human, rigging advanced simple human. I'll send the first part, chapter 1. You could save it if you want. There's a good reason why I say it that way. I don't know if I should get into it though. Hold on. I'm gonna take a sip of water. It's a pretty stupid reason, if I'm being honest. But recently there's this guy who's been popping up on my my TikTok For You page stuff. And he plays like this character who's like really into poop. And he goes into like a poop deli. And one of the orders is a schmear of poop on a bagel. Very obscure. I don't know if you've heard about that. And that's the reason why I call it that way. I'm just mimicking the way he does it. Really funny videos though. You should watch them. I mean, it sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but you should seriously check out his stuff. It's like he has like a whole universe around it. I found another Normals video too I can share, and the guy teaches you what is equivalent to rocket science. Normals is very short too, but it's got them packed with info. Oh, I like how you have a... Wait, is this your... oh, it is. It's your playlist of unfinished blend stores. That's not a... That's a pretty decent place to put tutorials, I guess. I post mine on a Google Doc. Let's see. Intro concept, explanation, Blender, implementation, rotation, order, example, optimizations, adjusting strength of added detail. Yeah, right. Otherwise, I have like so many. I mean, I currently have like so many tabs open. Because I'm gonna be watching these, but making a YouTube playlist isn't a bad idea. It's actually really nice. Ow. I'll save this though. I think I do have a normals thing, don't I? I think you're the one who made me make it. Because in my Blender journey as well. Wait, did I even? I was worried. What is this called again? How to combine all maps correctly. Oh, sure. There we go. What is it? Oh, yes, second one explains the advanced stuff. By the way, now that I've got Photoshop, easy outcome. Oh, it looks really nice. Looks really good. Pretty good. It's really nice how detailed things can get with a normal map. It's really nice. You get the bundle. What do you mean? Oh, I see what you mean. So dumb. Alright. Let's continue.
Rigify, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of each feature. Rigify now has a new Bone Collection UI panel based on the new Bone Collections in 4.0. Nice quality of life improvement. You will no longer lose your visibility settings when you regenerate a Rigify rig. The leg rig type has a new roll option, and related to that, there is a new alternative IK to FK snapping operator in the generated rig. The all-new Spline Tentacle rig type should generate a lot of excitement. You will find ghost entries for popular feature set in the Rigify add-on options. And finally, curved B-bone vertex mapping, which is a new feature in 4.0, is now used in parts of Rigify, specifically for the mouth bones of the Rigify face rig. You can now get access to all CG Dive tutorials, including my extensive paid courses, unreleased videos, and supporter-only content for just $5.99 a month. Check out academy.cgdive.com/subscription. The first thing we're gonna take a look at is the new Bone Collection UI panel. because this is the biggest change in Rigify in 4.0, and it can trip you over even as an experienced Rigify user. It took me about an hour to figure out how these triangles and pluses and minuses work, so I hope to save you a lot of time. I'll start over, and now if you're working with the pre-built MetaRigs, you don't have to do anything special. Just add your MetaRig and generate it. And everything is already set up for the new bone collections. You don't need to do anything special. But if you're doing custom stuff, let me just start over, create a new bone, go to pose mode, give it a rig type such as super copy. And now if I try to generate, I will get this error. So this is something that you will most likely see when you start messing around with Rigify in Blender 4. And that simply means that your bone collection UI is not set up correctly. So in this case, what I need to do is go to the bone collection UI, select my bones collection, which is the only collection, and set its UI row to anything but 0. So for example, 1 will be fine, and now I can generate the rig, and it will generate without an error. So I'm sure that many people will see this error, so I just wanted to have it documented. But if you're going to be customizing your Rigify rigs, then it is best to really try to understand how the new bone collection UI panel works. So next, let's see how the bone collection UI works in practice. I already recorded this once, but it ended up being a 30 minutes long tutorial. So I'm going to release that separately. And if you are a member of my Academy website, you'll already have access to it. And for this video, I'll try to cover this feature a little bit more briefly. I'll start a new file, create a new single bone, delete the default bone, go to the Imager tab, samples, and add a new basic spine. The basic spine is fairly complex, so it will be a good example. Let's expand the bone collection UI. And this menu will confuse you at first, but once you get it, it's actually nice to work with. Here in this area, you have your bone collections. These are the same collections that you have here in the actual bone collections panel. So it's just for convenience so that you don't have to scroll up and down. The eye icon will hide and unhide the content of this collection, exactly the same as here. The next icon that looks like a selection toggle is not clickable. It just shows if this collection is currently visible in the menu that you're creating or not. And this dot here is related to the selection sets add-on, which we won't cover here, so ignore it for now. So my spine bones are on this collection, so I'll double click here and rename this to spine. To make this spine collection appear in the menu of the generated rig, I can do two things. One, I can set the UI row. A value of 0 means hidden, so I have to set it to a higher value, such as 1, and it will appear in here, which means that when I generate the rig, I'll also have this button called spine. If I click the X button, it will disappear from the menu, and another way to add a button to the menu is to use the triangle here. Just press it, and that will place the highlighted collection here on the menu. Now, if I generate the rig, you'll see that I have my controls for the spine, and if I expand the end panel, under Item, I have the rig layers with one spine button. And if I click on it, that will just hide all of the spine controls. But the spine actually has some main controls, FK controls, and tweak controls. So let's go back to the MetaRig and see how we can organize them.
Alright, I don't know what any of that means, but okay.
If I select the first spine bone and go to the Bone tab, we can assign tweak collections and FK collections for this spine rig type. If you're familiar with the previous versions of Rigify, this will be familiar to you. It is just updated to work with the new bone collections. So what we need now is 2 additional collections to assign the tweak and FK controls to. So let's go back to the Imager tab, collections, and press the plus button twice, and rename one collection spine FK and the other one spine tweak. Go back to the bone tab, press this plus button, and assign the spine tweak collection to this field, and the plus button here and assign spine FK to the field. Just for your information, you can press the plus button once more and have another field and assign another collection to this field, which means that the FK controls will appear on multiple collections. So that is an advanced workflow to keep in mind. Now tweak controls and FK controls will be moved to special collections when we generate the rig, but we don't have buttons for them yet. So let's go back to the Armature tab. Select the spine FK. To put it on the menu, I have to give it the UI row number. So 1 will put it next to the main spine bones, 2 will place it on the next row, and so on. Or, of course, you can press any of these triangles and place the highlighted collection on that row. So let's highlight spine tweak and place it next to spine FK. And this is a preview of our menu. If we generate the rig, you'll see that we have the menu exactly as we designed it. So now if I disable spine tweak, the tweak controls will disappear. If I click on spine FK, FK controls will disappear or appear. And this is the visibility of the main spine controls. Okay, and this will be the workflow for most rig types. So let's go back to the meta rig and create another rig type, such as a leg. Select all leg bones, press M and place them on a new collection and call it leg. If I want to create a button for this main collection, I can use the triangles. I could also press this plus button to create a new row. So let's create a couple of new rows and I'll place the leg on this row here. So now we have a little bit of a breathing room between the spine and the root buttons. Then I'll go to pose mode, select the first bone, go to the bone tab, and I can have FK and tweak collections. So let's go to the Armature tab, create 2 new collections, leg FK and leg tweak.
Evening.
Assign them in here.
Good luck lurking. Wait.
Create 1 more row and assign leg FK and leg tweak like this. And now if I generate, I'll have the exact menu that I designed. Also notice how the spine tweak is disabled. In previous versions of Rigify, when you regenerate, all rig layers were made visible. But now Rigify remembers the state of your rig layers and it won't change them at generation. But now I have the leg FK and the leg tweak. What is called leg now is actually the IK controls. So if we go back to the meta rig, I can click on the leg button and rename it to leg IK. And that will keep the name of the actual collection, but it will add a UI title. So this way I can keep the name of my collection and only give a special name to the button. I can even rename the root here. I can name it Rooty, which wasn't possible until now. So now if I regenerate, here is my new menu with a leg IK button and the root is called Rooty. So this is how it works. Let's cover bone colors as well. Right now the rig is not color coded, so if we go to color sets, I can just add the standard colors and then go through my bone collections and assign a color set to them. So the spine, I believe, should have the yellow colors. For the root, I'll assign extra. Then we have FK, which is easy, just choose the FK color. Tweak, we also have a special color for tweaks. This is IK, FK, tweak, and now if I generate and go to pose mode, I'll have properly colored controls. So I think this is a good overview of the updated tool for creating rig menus. There are some more advanced workflows, which I'll cover in the longer video dedicated just to this feature. Now we'll focus on 2 new features of the Rigify leg. If I create a human meta rig, and the basic one is fine, and go to pose mode.
I feel like I might skip the spline tentacle rig because I don't foresee my future involving tentacles in any way. Also, this part of the video is literally like it starts at 13, ends around like at 22. It's a heckin' big portion of the fucking video. I don't think I need to know about the tentacle rig. I'll move on.
Select the thigh bone and go to the bone tab. In the rig type settings, there is a new toe tip roll option. So let's enable it just on this leg and generate the rig. Go to pose mode. Select this widget, which is the foot heel IK. And let's hide the meta rig and scroll down and enable the deformation bones just to see things better. Now, if I rotate this control on the x-axis, it raises the heel while keeping the toe on the ground. And that is the familiar behavior that you should know from previous versions of Rigify. Now, if I expand the end panel, under Rig Main Properties, there is a new slider called Roll on Toe, and if I slide it to 1, the toe will also be included in this action, giving the impression that the character is raising the heel from the tip of the toes.
Interesting.
Rather than, if I switch this back to 0, raising them from the ball of the foot. On the other leg, where I didn't enable this option, I won't have this slider, so I can only raise the heel at the ball of the foot. So that is the new roll on toe option. You have to enable it in the meta rig and then you'll have this slider. The other new feature is also here in Rig Main Properties for the IK leg, and that is IK to FK snapping with roll. So now we have two different ways to snap the IK controls to the FK controls. This one, which is the old behavior, and this new one. So let's see how they are different. If I create a pose for the FK bones, and then use the old IK to FK snap, it will snap the orientation of the IK controls to the FK ones using this IK foot control. In other words, the IK control will be rotated. Let's undo, and now use the new operator. And now the character will take the exact same pose, except that the IK foot control was not rotated. It was, if I undo, here it is flat on the ground, and if I use the new snapping mechanism, it will stay flat on the ground, and the foot and toe pose will be adjusted using the heel control. So if you want to snap the IK to FK, and it is important to keep the orientation of your foot control, then you should use this new option. Now make some noise for the new tentacle rig type.
What?
I have my tentacle model ready, let's rig it.
Crazy. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna skip the tentacle rig. Just because no tentacles. Improved mouth corners face rig.
This next update concerns the Rigify face rig. It may be hard to notice, but if I create a human meta rig, upgrade the face rig and generate, unhide the deformation bones, hide the meta rig, go to pose mode, I can switch to B-bone display, and most of the new face rig uses bendy bones. So if I select this deformation bone, which is at the mouth corner, and go to the bone tab, expand bendy bones, you'll see that the vertex mapping setting, which is new in Blender 4, is set to curved. This is a new feature which creates nicer deformations when using bendy bones. The old behavior is straight, and if we look at some of the other bones, you'll see that they're set to straight. Curved has the disadvantage that it is a little bit slower to compute, so I guess they're using it only where it really counts. So that's it, there's nothing for you to do, everything is already set up, but you may see nicer deformation in the mouth corner when using the face rig in Blender 4 and later. And I'll wrap things up with a minor change. If I go to Edit Preferences, Add-ons, and find Rigify, and expand these options, Rigify allows us to install feature sets, which are basically extensions for Rigify. You may get new features, new rig types, new rig behavior. I even have a separate video specifically about feature sets. So what is new now is that there are a couple of officially recognized feature sets, such as Cloud Rig, Experimental Rigs by Alexander Gavrilov, the Tentacle Rig that we just saw used to be part of this Experimental Rigs, and now it made it to the official release. So if you want to see what may be coming to Rigify in the future, this may be interesting. And there is also the Sessence Rigify extension, which is kind of like an older, simpler version of Rigify. And as you can see, it says not installed. So these are just so-called ghost entries, which allows us easy access to these rig types if you want them. Here, let's say on Cloud Rig, you just click on repository and you'll be taken to the place where you can download it from. Okay, same for the other ones. So if you're interested in these extensions, check out my previous video. It's a slightly older one, but it still applies. If you have a Rigify rig from Blender 3.6 and you want to update it to 4.0, here is everything that I know. I believe the only thing that really breaks is the rig UI menu. If you still have your meta rig in the scene, there is an official way to update your rigs. Find your meta rig, go to the Rigify menu and press the Upgrade Meta Rig button, and then generate your...
Okay. That video is done. I'm not going to save it because it's just an overview video about the changes. The videos that probably do matter are these. Rigify course. I believe there's like 4 to 5 parts. I keep on mentioning this, I don't know why. Alright, sorry. I was looking at if there was any other videos I could look. Okay. Wait, I don't need this.
The pose library...
Alright. Give me one moment. I'm going to use the bathroom. When I come back, we will begin the Rigify course. However, I think I might have to try to do this with a normal Rigify rig, just because the rig that I currently have is a bit modified, specifically with some extra bones, I think, in the eye area. I deleted a bunch of the face bones, obviously. Some of the other bones around here somewhere. And then obviously I added the entire eye cave thing that I watched yesterday, which at the moment I don't know how that's going to transfer or how I can make it work. So just to save me the hassle, I might work on a unaltered Rigify rig. And then try to, I guess, transfer my knowledge that I learned from the videos onto the rig that I have now. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know how hard or easy it is to convert a rig to a Rigify rig. That's what the course is for. So yeah, I'll be right back. Give me one moment. And then we'll start when I come back. So, BRB. I'm back. All right, let's get into it. Oh God, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. We'll see. One step at a time. Let's go. Me, anyway.
If you're trying to rig a character and getting nowhere, or you simply don't enjoy the process of setting up constraints and drivers, Rigify may be just what you're looking for. Hi and welcome to...
Oh. Okay. So if you have Rigify, you don't need any of that stuff. Alright. Good to know.
the new and updated Rigify course by CGDive. This course aims to teach you how to use Rigify properly and unleash the full potential of this auto-rigging system. Here is what you'll learn over the next couple of lessons. We'll start by gaining a solid understanding of Blender armatures. We'll then quickly learn how to rig humans from simple to complex using a pre-built meta rig. Then we'll rig a quadruped using another type of pre-built armature. And finally, we'll dive deeper and discover how we can create our own custom meta rigs with Rigify so that you can rig any character no matter how complex or strange it is. This is the second version of this course. The previous installment was a huge success with thousands of students, but it was recorded with Blender 2.8, whereas the stable version of Blender right now is 4.0. The interface changes have become significant, and that's why I'm making this updated version so that even beginners can learn Rigify easily. Rigify is a free, modular, auto-rigging system for Blender. Free means free of charge. The add-on even comes pre-packaged with Blender. Auto-rigging means that instead of you having to painstakingly set up constraints and drivers, a production-ready rig is generated for you with a click of a button. Modular means that you get access to components such as a spine, a head, a leg, an arm, even a complex tentacle and a whole face rig, and you can assemble these any way you like. This can be a mind-blowing realization for some people. When you activate Rigify, and we'll do that in a second, you will get access to a human rig and some animals. But these are just quick presets. As you'll see very soon, you can build your own rigs by combining the Rigify components, and this way you can rig almost anything with ease.
When marketers fail to do...
God damn it, an ad.
Believe it or not, Rigify download is a popular search on Google, and there are malicious websites that claim to offer a Rigify download. Don't get scammed. Rigify is free and already included in Blender. All you need is the latest version of Blender, which you can get by going to blender.org and clicking on downloads. I'll assume that you can install the software yourself because this course is not for complete beginners. At the very least, you should know how to navigate in the 3D viewport, create objects, and move them around.
Story isn't for babies, okay? You're a baby out there. I don't know what I was gonna say. What are you doing?
If you don't, please make the donut first and then come back here. Ideally, you should have some basic knowledge of Blender armatures, but if not, the next chapter will be a crash course in Blender armatures, so we'll take care of the basics. And let me quickly mention CGDive Academy. This is CGDive's dedicated course website where you can find my advanced courses and bonus content. And right now you can also get early access to the Rigify Fundamentals in Blender 4.0 course. The Rigify Fundamentals will be a free course on YouTube, and I'll even make it free here on Academy. However, during the initial release, from December 2023 until sometime in January 2024, the course will be in early access and you will have to pay for it as much as $3.99. It is a ridiculous price for the amount of content you're getting. So you can get it as a single course, or you can click here and get a monthly or yearly subscription to CGDive Academy, which will give you access to all content, including...
Sorry, I thought I heard someone call my name. Let's continue.
including the early access to Rigify fundamentals in Blender 4. As you can see, a lot of the content is already available as early access, so you can start watching right now. The chapters that...
What is this? Oh, it's a chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Adding a jacket coming soon. Oh, so he splits it up into wait. Complex. Oh, that's the complex one, okay. Quadruped, other quadrupeds, custom Rigify rigs, Rigify menus. I wonder if all of these are out already. It was a month ago since these videos came out, so I assume. Although I'll see. There's also this video here that I saved, which is like new 4.0 add-ons for rigging and animating. Made by, I believe this is the guy who did the IK thing that I just watched. So I'll give that a look as well. Add-ons are very yummy.
say coming soon, I'm already recording and editing, so they are coming very soon, within a week or so. Of course, you can wait for the YouTube release. I'll be releasing the videos every couple of days, maybe once per week. My goal is to strike a balance between providing high quality free content for everyone, but also rewarding my biggest supporters. And again, if you're watching this around the end of January 2024, then all of this content here will be free.
Nice.
And I recommend watching it here because you have easy access to downloads. You can ask me questions and you can expect that I'll reply. On YouTube, I get way too many comments and questions, so replying to everyone is no longer possible. If you're a CG Dive supporter or you decide to become one, then thank you. I really appreciate it. If you want to go ahead and enable Rigify, just go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, search for Rigify, and place a check mark next to the add-on. Close the preferences, and now Rigify is enabled. We won't practice much in this chapter. I'll just give you a quick overview of where you can find the main Rigify features once you activate the add-on. If you press Shift A and go to Armature, you'll see Human Meta Rig, then Animals, which expands into a couple of different animals, and then Basic, which gives you a basic human and basic quadruped. Before installing Rigify, you will only see single bone here. I'll create a basic human meta rig. Now, if I go to this tab, which is actually Object Data Properties, but most people call it the Armature tab, and so do I. So if I go to the Armature tab, you will see the Rigify panel with the big Generate Rig button. Before I click on it, notice the new bone collections that we have in Blender 4.0. There are many small and gradual interface changes and new features that happened after I recorded the previous course, but this is the huge one. This changes how we work with our rigs quite a lot, and it was one of the main motivations to make this new installment of the course. If I press Generate Rig, you'll see that we get something very complex. If I go to pose mode, I can start moving these controls here. So this is our production ready rig that Rigify generated for us.
I want to try that out. Okay, here. Oh god. Hopefully my Blender doesn't crash. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, what was it? There's onion skin.
¿Hay que mandarlo a la dirección o no? Oh, que la gran puta, yo ya me he levantado.
I don't know what any of these things mean. I'm sure we'll figure it out as we get going. Very interesting. You know what? I think this is FK and then this is IK, correct? Yeah. Alright. So green is IK. And red is FK. Look at these contraptions. Does that, does that mean I don't need the foot stuff that I did? Seems like this already kind of does what I was doing. I guess if I don't want to use a Rigify rig. I'm not sure if Rigify rigs can be transferred over to game engines. In which case, then I should probably, if I were to have like a rig that isn't a Rigify rig, then the way I made it probably isn't the best. Because this rig isn't game engine friendly. We'll see. I'm just experimenting right now. Alright, let's continue the video, sorry.
It may seem complex and even intimidating, but don't worry, by the end of this course, you'll know how these controls work. But generating a rig that is exactly this size is not very useful. Your character may be very small or much bigger, with different proportions, and so on. So if I unhide my meta rig again, select it, and go to edit mode, I can just grab some of these bones and change the proportions of this rig and generate again. And you'll see that my generated rig adapted to these changes.
Nice.
Here I activate the deformation bones. This is just to clearly show the structure of the rig. I can go back to the meta rig, edit mode, tweak it some more, generate, and the changes will be reflected in the generated rig. I can even duplicate this whole arm and do something crazy like parenting it to the leg and generate.
Leg arm.
And now we have a character with an arm attached to its leg. So these are the things that make Rigify very attractive. Not only can you generate a complex rig quickly, but you can also adapt it to your character with a lot of freedom. Now, there are some limitations, of course. The individual components are predefined and they work in a certain way. If I go to the meta rig and go to the bone tab, at first you won't see anything Rigify related, but if you go to pose mode and select the first leg bone or the first arm bone, you will see a Rigify type. I'll explain exactly how this works in later chapters, but for now keep in mind that this is one area which allows us to tweak how the Rigify rigs work a little bit. I don't want to go any deeper than that in this chapter. We'll uncover these areas of Rigify one by one as we practice. Before we move on to the next chapter, here is important information about some interface changes. For the most part, I use default settings, but I have enabled a special add-on which displays mouse clicks and keyboard shortcuts for you. So you'll be able to see what I'm clicking and pressing. If I go to Edit Preferences again, of course, we'll enable Rigify, and in navigation, I enable Orbit Around Selection, Depth, and Zoom to Mouse Position. These are not mandatory, I just like these settings. Especially if you're new to Blender, do not tweak them. You will learn what they do over time. Then in System, I increase the undo steps to the maximum of 256. If your PC is not too slow, you should do this so that you can undo as many steps as possible. And finally, under Key Map, I enable Tab for Pie Menu and Extra Shading Pie Menu items. These are settings that I cannot live without. They make my workflow much faster. Here is what they do. Tap for Pie menu enables a Pie menu when I press tab. And that allows me to go to object mode, pose mode, or edit mode for armatures
Okay.
very
Didn't know
quickly.
that. Well,
I'm mentioning this because sometimes it is really quick and you may not notice it, like this. When I change the mode, it will be reflected over here in the interface, so you can always see which mode I'm in. When I press Z, my Pie menu looks like this. So wireframe, solid, material preview, and rendered do exactly the same as these 4 buttons over here. Toggle X-ray is the same as pressing this button here. And toggle overlays is the same as pressing this button. So again, I can switch viewport settings very quickly, but if you get lost, always look at these icons here and you'll know my exact settings. With that, we are ready to move on and learn about Blender armatures.
right.
What exactly is...
I won't save that one because it just went over what we're gonna be doing instead of actually talking about stuff. I might not save this one either since it goes over rigging basics, but I think if it shows a lot of stuff that I don't know, then maybe yeah. I'm trying to see my other videos. Okay, this is the add-on. I don't know when I'm gonna look at this. Ring animation. Ring here.
こんにちは、こんなくんです。
So, the pelvis area. So, you. So, your butt. So, you. So, you.
Okay. He's a little too excitable, I guess.
So you've got your anime girl fully modeled.
Alright. I'm just loading up all the other videos. Alright, let's go. 36 minutes long. Let's see how it goes.
Part of the Rigify course for Blender 4, we'll learn the basics of Blender bones and armatures, and even manually rig a simple character. We'll learn how to create bones, adjust their positions, parent them. We'll learn about edit
Is it? While this part of the Rigify course and also a good general introduction to rigging in Blender, you can watch it as a standalone tutorial. Alright, fair enough.
mode and pose mode, and even some basic constraints. If you already know this stuff, it is okay to skip this lesson. But if Rigify rigs automatically, why are we doing this? Well, Rigify is based on Blender's armatures, so knowing some basics is essential. And the truth that many people don't want to hear is that even when using Rigify, fundamental rigging knowledge is important. I'm actually considering making a beginner's course in manual rigging. It is just an idea for now, but stay subscribed and you will hear about it. Or even
Wait, sorry. Okay, so parenting basics, Blender Armatures 101, rigging, basic rigging practice, bone names, creating the leg, creating shoulder and arm, parenting the body parts, automatic weights, inverse kinematics, deforming / non-deforming bones, bone collections, custom shapes, IK pull target, simplified light controls, root bone, bone colors. There are some videos here that I think I need to look at, or I mean some parts here. Specifically I think bone names. I think this is just gonna go over including left or .L in the bone so you can symmetrize it. I think deforming / non-deforming bones might be useful to look at. Obviously bone collections seems very good. Custom shapes seems very good too. Okay, not IK pull target. Simplified light controls, maybe? Root bone seems important. Then bone colors.
better, join my Academy website on academy.cgdive.com, where you can get access to all of my content. Right now, you can get early access to the full Rigify Fundamentals course for the symbolic price of $3.99, and in early 2024, the course will actually become completely free. So check out academy.cgdive.com. That is also where you can download start files if you want to follow along with me in this course. Now, in Blender 4.0, we'll start exploring armature.
Should I do that? Ooh, hold on, let me see. It wouldn't be a bad idea, especially if he has like a mesh. Continue playing files allow you to follow along with the videos using the same models as the upcoming videos. Of course, you could use your own models. After all, the ultimate goal is to make your own characters. However, if you are a complete beginner, I recommend starting with the provided models. I am pretty much a complete beginner. I'll leave this here. If I desperately need it, then I will do it.
But before that, let's create a couple of mesh objects. Shift-A, mesh, and create 3 objects that you like. And position them something like this. Now, if I select my cone and shift-select the sphere becomes active, and I can press Ctrl-P and set parent to object. Now, if I only select the sphere and move it around, you'll see the cone moving with it. This is parenting. This will be an important concept to understand when working with bones, so I want to cover it quickly. Now, if I select the sphere and then shift-select the cube, and again press Ctrl-P and object, then both the sphere and the cone are children of the cube. Technically, the sphere is a child, and the cone is a grandchild of the cube and a child of the sphere. When objects are parented, the child moves with the parent, and that also applies to rotation and scale. This should be enough. I'll delete this, then press Shift-A, armature, and create a single bone. Armatures in Blender are a special type of object which contains bones. Just like mesh objects contain vertices and faces, armatures contain bones. Also similar to mesh objects, armatures have modes. They have object mode, edit mode, and a special pose mode. We create our basic armature in edit mode, and we pose and animate it in pose mode. So let's go to edit mode, and again I'm using this pie menu. I'll go to edit mode, and if I click on this bone, I can select it and press G to move it around, R to rotate it, and S to scale it. The bone has 2 spheres on each end, and it's important to remember that the one at the thick end is called head, and the one on the other side is called tail. In edit mode, you can select one of these ends of the bone and also press G to move it, and reposition your bone that way. Of course, you can also use the move gizmo and rotate and scale, but I'll generally use the shortcuts. If you want to create another bone, you can press Shift-A, and that will create another bone within this same armature. I can move it, press Shift-A, and create one more bone. Another way to create additional bones is to select the tail of a bone and press E and extrude a bone. Now these 2 bones are connected, and we'll talk about this in a second. Yet another way, you can select a bone, right-click and choose Subdivide, and that will create more connected bones.
I knew that.
Now,
I don't know why
if
I'm
I select
like
this
acting like I
single
didn't.
bone and shift-select this last bone of this chain and press Ctrl-P, again the same shortcut that we used in object mode to parent the meshes, this will allow me to parent 2 bones. And we can choose between Keep Offset and Connected. If I choose Keep Offset, you'll see a line indicating the parenting, but the child bone will stay exactly as it is. If I do this again, press Ctrl-P, and because I already parented with Keep Offset, it will be grayed out, so now I can choose Connected, and that will parent the selected bone to the active bone and also connect it to it. So when we extrude or subdivide bones, we automatically create bones that are parented and connected to the previous bone. Now I'll parent this bone to this bone with keep offset. And if I try to move or rotate this bone, you'll see that the child doesn't seem to react to it. That is because we are in edit mode. In edit mode, we set up the default position for the bones. So parenting is only indicated by this relationship line here. But if I switch to pose mode and rotate this bone, you'll see the child moving with it. If I rotate this bone, the whole chain will move. So now parenting works exactly as you would expect it. And if I try to move this bone, which is parented with offset to this one, I can actually move it. But if I try to move this one, which is parented and connected to the previous bone, if I press G, it will rotate instead of moving. That is because connected parenting does not allow it to move, so Blender does the next best thing, which I guess is rotation. Now, if I switch back to edit mode, you'll see that the bones are no longer in their posed position. In edit mode, the bones are always in the default position, which in technical terms is called rest position. In pose mode, the bones will be in their posed position.
I don't think I needed to do all that.
Toggle with my extended shading options. Then I'll switch to side view and scale this bone and position it at the bottom of the spine and the end of the bone at the end of the spine. Then select the bone, right click and subdivide, and then expand these options, and number of cuts I'll set to 2. So I'll have 3 bones. You can have a spine with 4 bones as well, that's okay, but here we'll go with 3 bones. Then grab the connections between these bones for the head. We haven't talked about bone names. If I select this bone and go to the bone tab, you'll see its name. It is called bone. The next bone is called bone 002 and the next one 001. So they are all over the place, and that will get confusing as your rig becomes more complex. You can name the bones any way that makes sense to you. I'll name this one spine 1. This one will be spine 2, spine 3, neck, and finally I'll name the head. And actually, if I select the head bone and press F2, this will allow me to rename this bone right in the 3D viewport, which can be very handy. And the name of the bone was changed. Then I'll create a new bone, press G and X and move it a little bit to the side. From the side view, rotate it and scale it, and then align it with the thigh of the character. With this end selected, press E and extrude another bone down to the ankle. E again and extrude to the toes, and E again and extrude to the end of the toes. Let's look from the front view and make sure that the bones are aligned from the front view as well. And finally, look through the perspective view as well. From the side view, make sure that there is a little bit of an angle
skip ahead a
to
little
the
bit.
knee.
Protein
Do not make the
decay,
leg too straight, and definitely not inverted in the other direction. And name the bones.
Kinematics.
This one will be the thigh. Before we move forward, it's important to become aware that even though the whole rig consists of bones, some of them actually deform the character and some don't. In this case, the only bone that doesn't deform the character is the IK bone. It's just a control. So in the bone tab, find the deform option and turn it off. When you rig manually, you always have to keep in mind which bone is deforming and which not. Currently, this is not a problem because we already applied weights to the character. But if I go to object mode, select the mesh, shift select the armature, Control P, and choose automatic weights, I won't do it, but if I did it, the IK bone will also become a deforming bone. And that is not what I want. So in pose mode, bone tab, make sure that the deform option is disabled. Then go to edit mode, select the IK bone, shift select the shin bone and the foot bone. Right click and symmetrize. The IK bone was symmetrized, but that's not all. If I go to pose mode, you'll see that the IK and this copy location constraint was also symmetrized. So if you make some changes to one side of the rig, you can just select the bones in edit mode and symmetrize them, and additional properties such as constraints will also be symmetrized. So now we have this wonderful squatting behavior, we have IK controls, and there is a lot we can still do. If you feel adventurous, you can add finger bones. We can make the arm IK as well. It is the exact same process as the leg. Although working with non-IK arms is a lot more reasonable than legs. By the way, the opposite of IK is FK, or forward kinematics. Now we can do some rig organization. If we go to the Armature tab, we have our bone collections, which is this new big feature in Blender 4.0. Bone collections work very similarly to object collections. Currently, all of my bones are on this single collection called bones. If I click on this eye icon here, they will become invisible. So I'll double click this collection and name it spine. And then I'll press the plus button to create a new collection and name it arm.l, for example. And I'll create a couple more collections for each part of my rig.
Probably will be doing this now.
Now to assign bones to a specific collection, I can select these bones that I want to assign, press M, and choose my collection. Let's assign the right arm bones, M, and choose arm.r. All of the left leg bones, M, and choose leg.l. Same on the right side. Now actually, I'll delete the head collection, select my neck and head, press M, and choose new collection and name it head. So this is another way to create a new layer and at the same time assign bones to it in one go. Now clicking this eye icon will only hide and unhide the bones that belong to that particular collection. Another way to make your rig easier to work with is to add custom shapes.
Right. One moment, I'll be right back. And when I do that, I'll label my... I'm also going to delete this rig. I think you'll go over it later. But yeah, I'll label these things. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay, I was like, I thought I was saying double there. I'll label these again. This one's literally just called bones. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, yeah. One moment. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Hold on. Alright, sorry. I'm looking at some stuff. Hmm. Alright, let's continue. What is it? Alright. I was gonna label things myself. Alright, let's make this head. I might turn off axes now. Guess I don't need that anymore. I wonder if I should make the hand separate to the arm. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. There's an M. This is arm. Out. And out. Oh, whoops. Arm. Arm. Object. And dot arm. was gonna talk about the root bone in a little bit. I think from what I saw in the video, and from what I saw in the other guy video, with guy with the MK, FK, or I mean IK, I think it is, yeah. They both put the root bones on the floor, which is interesting. I'm still gonna include it in the spine for now, but I'm gonna have to wait and see what they do with that. Okay, now I think I should set the MCH stuff on its own. So left leg. Left leg, left knee. We'll make that leg.L. And then ankle and foot. We'll make foot.L. What is this? Leg .R. Foot .R. Okay, which one of these has the IK? I see. I'll include the root bone in there as well. This is gonna be IK bones.L. Where's the... Here it is. Wait, what is this bone? Okay. I see. This is going to be the IK bones.R. And I'll just name these bones with MCH. MCH bones.L. And finally, these last three. MCH bones.R. Let's say 3 levels of roots, highest anchors. Highest anchors is the whole object of the scene. That'd be the object origin. Second is the root bone on the floor that would move the armature in the scene, and then you have the root bone for the skeleton hierarchy, which gets animated. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's continue the video.
So I'll go to object mode, Shift A, mesh, and create a circle. You can create all kinds of interesting shapes for your rigs, but here I'll just use a single circle and you'll see how it will make our rig much easier to work with. So back to the rig, pose mode, I'll select the IK control, go to the bone tab, viewport display, find custom object and choose the circle. And my IK control will become this circular object. The behavior is exactly the same, it is just a visual thing. You can
Oh, so that works very similarly to the way IK looks. Or not IK, sorry, Rigify looks. It has a bunch of shapes. Ah, oh, interesting.
click on the top scale value, drag down, and then drag to the side to scale this widget up or down. Holding shift will make the scaling slower. Again, I can go to edit mode, right click, symmetrize, go back to pose mode, and I'll have the exact same thing on the other side. Then I'll select the spine and choose the same circle as a shape and give it a rotation of 90 on the X and maybe move it a little bit on the Y. And I'll do the exact same thing for the other spine bones. And even the neck bone and the head. The head bone works well as this halo looking thing at the top of the head. Let's do something similar for all other bones.
This will be pretty helpful for selecting the IK bone on the foot.
This is looking good, so I'll select all arm bones and the shoulder bone, edit mode, right click, symmetrize, go back to pose mode, and everything is set up. Now I can disable X-ray, and this is a little bit weird. I also have to go to object mode and disable X-ray again. And now in pose mode, you'll see that I no longer see through the mesh, but I can still select the exact controls that I want to select. And this leads to a very minimal rig. You can still pose your character, but you can also clearly see it.
Nice. That's nice. I like that.
This rig is in a good shape now. It's simple yet quite usable. But let's do some adjustments and we'll learn additional rigging techniques. Now, if I want to control the upper leg or the knee of the character, I have to enable X-ray, select the thigh bone, and rotate it. If you double tap R, it may be easier to rotate it. But there is another way to orient the knee, which is considered the most traditional way. So let's select all bones and go to Pose, Clear, Transform All to reset our rig. Then in Edit mode, again enable X-ray, select the knee of the character, go to Side View, press E, Y and extrude a bone on the Y-axis. Select this bone and press Alt-P and clear parent. Move it away from the knee on the Y-axis and give it a good distance, something like this. Press F2 and rename it to IK. Pole.L. So this will be the so-called pole target, which orients the direction of the IK chain. So in pose mode, select the shin, go to the bone constraints, and let's set up the pole target. If I press here, I will first have to select my armature. When I do, another field will become available. So the target field will let you select an object, and if that object is an armature, then you'll be able to select a bone within that armature. So click in the bone field and look for the pole bone. Your leg will flip. This is normal and can be fixed using the pole angle. Most likely you will need a value of 90 or minus 90 degrees. And it looks okay. But if I disable the IK constraint using this eye icon, you may see a very slight movement of the leg. And that's not a huge problem, but you can tweak this number slightly until there is no difference between IK on and IK off. So a value of minus 89.3 did it for me. And now moving this pole bone orients the knee. Something else you could do, right now, if I select the foot bone, I can rotate it and control the foot this way. However, if I go to edit mode, select my foot bone, shift select the IK, and press Ctrl P, keep offset. In pose mode, I can move the IK and then rotate it, and that will rotate the foot. And that makes my rig controls simpler. And simplicity is a good thing. Also, the IK is currently independent from the IK, and that can be a good thing, but if you want to, you can try to parent this pole to the IK control. Now moving the IK and rotating it controls the whole leg. Some people may like this, some may not, so which one you like is up to you. Pressing Alt-G, Alt-R will reset the position and rotation of a specific control. Now I'm happy with this setup, so I'll go to edit mode, select my shin, IK, foot, and pole target, right click and symmetrize, and I'll have the exact same setup on the other leg. By the way, these pole bones are not deforming bones, so do you remember what we need to do? I have to go to the bone tab and disable the deform option. Most rigs also have a root bone, that is a bone that will move all of the other bones. So let's go to edit mode, make sure the 3D cursor is in the center of the world. If it's not, Shift S, cursor to world origin, press Shift A to create a new bone, name it root. From the side view, grab the end of the bone, enable snapping with these snapping options, and move the bone so that
This position aligns the orientation of the root bone with the 3D world. This content may be difficult to grasp at first, but just follow along for now.
It's flat on the ground, and disable snapping. Now I'll parent all bones that are not parented to other bones to the root bone. So the hips and the IK bones should be parented to the root bone. By the way, if I enable this X option here, that will automatically mirror any changes that I make to one side to the other side, as long as both sides already exist. So now if I just press Ctrl P, keep offset, you'll see that the right bone was also parented to the root, even though it wasn't selected. Also with this option on, if I just move anything on the left side, it will move on the right side at the same time. So now in pose mode, I can move this root and it moves the whole character. I'm going to give it a custom object, the same circle. And I guess I could give the same circle to the pole targets. Or if I go to object mode and select this circle, I'll move it to the side, Shift D and duplicate it, and then in edit mode, select all vertices, Shift D, and then press R, X, 90 on the numpad, and then once more, Shift D, cancel the movement, R, Z, 90, and this will give me this spherical shape. Then I'll rename it F2 sphere.
Oh, that's 100% like the
Go to my
regular
rig and apply the sphere as the custom shape. Go to edit mode, right click, symmetrize, and I'll have the same on the other side. Now I can disable X-ray in object mode, and I have this very clean rig. We can clean up the armature even.
So I can make a root bone. Alright, so now this bone should... Oh. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, interesting. What? Hold on. Why are these like green? Oh wait, this foot's green. Copy transforms. Oh, I probably need to symmetrize this foot. Hold on. Okay, now it's behaving like it's supposed to. I feel like I did this wrong. Hold on. And finish it,
Let's
and I
enable
go.
X-ray again and select these bones. These leg bones will not be used in animation, so I don't need to see them. I can select them, press M, new collection, and let's call it something like hidden. Press OK, go to the Armature tab, find my hidden collection, and disable the eye icon. The toe is still usable, so I'll give it a custom object, circle. I'm going to squash it a little bit on the y-axis like this. Edit mode, right-click, symmetrize. As a finishing touch, I'm going to give colors to these bones. This is also something that changed in Blender 4. We used to have so-called bone groups, which were used to assign colors. Now colors are a bone property, so if I have a bone selected in pose mode and go to the bone tab, just above the custom shape, we have these bone colors, and I'm only going to set the pose bone color. So let's say that I want all bones on the left side to be red, right side blue, and all central bones yellow. I'll select all of my left bones, or left controls, choose the red theme color, and then press this button, and that will copy this color to all selected controls. Select the bones on the right side, give them a blue color, and copy the colors. Then all bones in the center, pick the yellow color and copy. And for the root, we can choose a special color like pink. So again, this is a nice rig. It's simple but usable. There is a ton of things that we can improve upon it. But if you finish this exercise as a beginner, you should congratulate yourself, and you can be sure that you probably know more about rigging than most of Blender users. Rigging can be really esoteric, and most people just don't know much. This will be a solid foundation from...
Yeah, let me go back to the beginning of the root bone one, because I don't think I got that.
Most rigs also have a root bone, that is a bone that will move all of the other bones. So let's go to edit mode. Make sure the 3D cursor is in the center of the world. If it's not, Shift S, cursor to world origin. Press Shift A to create a new bone. Name it root. From the side view, grab the end of the bone. Enable snapping with these snapping options. And move the bone so that it's flat on the ground. And disable snapping. Now I'll parent all bones that are not parented to other bones to the root bone. So the hips and the IK bones should be parented to the root bone. By the way, if I enable this X option here, that will automatically mirror any changes that I make to one side to the other side, as long as both sides already exist. So now if I just press Ctrl P, keep offset, you'll see that the right bone was also parented to the root, even though it wasn't selected. Also, with this option on, if I just move anything on the left side, it will move on the right side at the same time. So now in pose mode, I can move this root and it moves the whole character. I'm going to give it a custom object.
Okay, so actually the root bone isn't. Well, that's probably because he set the root bone to be parented to the IK bone. This is which is my IK bone? This one, right? Does it not have any parents? Hold on, let me see. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Okay, now it should work. Yep. Okay. And so now the hip bone is no longer the root bone, which is good. Now I could just use that to sit. Nice. There we go. Fantastic. Good to know. I think that was like the only issue I had, but now I don't have to fix it. Either way, though, we'll continue. Chapter 2's done. Chapter 3.
At full sail.
I thought it was going to be a lot longer, Chapter 3. But I guess Chapter 4 is where the real complexity kicks in, I guess. I think now might be a good time to download the Rigify start file, because I believe he's going to give us a character to rig. And at the moment, I mean, I could make a copy of Regulus and just like unrig her, and then I could just rig her with the Rigify. That is possible. But I believe, I mean, I'm guessing here, but I believe the character he's going to give us is kind of like suited for the Rigify rig. I think if I use Regulus, I'm going to have to move around some bones, which might not take too long, but at the same time, the finger bones might take a while. I don't know if I want to do that. Anyway, so hold up. Let me download that, I guess. Let me put this on another file so you guys can't see. This is interesting though. I thought what's this sign? Because then I have that one guy whose videos I also have up. Who wait. Okay, what is this? This is chapter 3. I have the other guy up who talks about drivers and using drivers and stuff like that and constraints. But I guess that's like a different thing, since Rigify does all that for you. I guess that's if you want to make a rig without Rigify. You'd go that method, using drivers and constraints and stuff like that. But you could also just use Rigify as well. Okay, I'm launching up the other blend file, so once that's up, I'll open it. Okay, so. Okay. So let me save and exit of the Regulus one. And let me. There we go. It's capturing that one now. Let's see how its topology is. Oh, it's not bad. Pretty good. Nice little elbow topology. Niche it. Alright. Yeah. I was thinking whether I should save the last video. It had a lot of things I already knew, but it also did teach me a few things. I think I'll save this video, since it was going to teach me about Rigify, and I'll just include it in the notes that, the last chapter, is like a general overview of rigging that doesn't involve Rigify. So if I ever need it, I could just look for it. Go back to it, I guess. Alright, let's see.
In Blender 4.0. In this part, we'll finally get to use Rigify. After the last exercise in manual rigging, this one should feel easy and be much faster to complete. But speed is not essential right now. Take your time, learn the fundamentals, and that will make everything you do in the future much easier. In fact, you may want to do each exercise twice or even 3 times until everything makes perfect sense. In this chapter, we'll rig this same guy from the last session, but using Rigify this time. You can use the same file from the resources section on Academy. Come and join Academy and you can watch this same video without ads and distractions. I'm also more likely to reply to questions on Academy, so see you there. If you didn't enable Rigify in chapter 1, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, type Rigify here, and if this checkbox is disabled, enable it. You can save your preferences here, close the window, and done. Now you can press Shift-A, Armature, and we can use a meta rig. Our character is humanoid and we have a human meta rig here, so most people will just go ahead and choose this rig, but the human meta rig is actually quite complex. There are many things that can go wrong with it, so for this first Rigify session, we'll go with the basic human rig. So I'll move it to the side and
Basic human looks quite nice, actually. It doesn't have the hands.
also create the complex human meta rig. The big differences between these two are in the hands. The complex human actually has fingers, and it also has a face. And we will use the complex rig in the very next session, but let's start slow and we'll use the simple one for this lesson. I'll press Ctrl Z and undo until this state, enable X-ray, and because the meta rig is a little bit bigger than my character, I can press S to scale it. However, if you expand the N panel, you can just press N and look under Item, you'll see that scale has the value of 0.9. This is not good, this can create problems, so I'll press Ctrl A and apply scale.
Alright.
If you happen to move your character in space, you can also press Alt-G and that will move it back in the center of the world. And similar, if you have any rotation to it, you can press Alt R. So you want location of 0, 0, 0, rotation also 0, and scale of 1, 1, 1. And the finer adjustments of this rig have to be done in edit mode. So let's go to edit mode.
Oops.
Enable this X option, which you should know from the previous lesson. And now when I move a bone on the left side, the right side will be adjusted automatically. Also, if I tweak the right side, left side is tweaked. Now let's start adjusting the bones. I'll go to front view, select the whole left leg, including this little bone down here, press G and X, and align the bones with the actual leg of the character. In side view, I'll tweak the knee a little bit. Again, it is extremely important to keep a little bit of an angle in the knee, and definitely don't let it bend backwards. I'll align this with the ankle. You can enable wireframe to see things better. In the toe bone, I'll align with the toes. This bone here is quite important. It creates a certain functionality in the rig, and it needs to be positioned exactly at the heel of the character. And it will allow you to raise the foot of the character from the heel.
All right.
From the front view, scale it up or down so that it is about as wide as the foot of the character. This connection between the bones, which represents the ankle, needs to be inside the volume of the foot, so something like this. But the leg is starting to look good. Again, bone positions are very important. You should use anatomy images to help you decide where to place the bones, but we are still keeping it light, so just do your best and it should be fine, and you can always make improvements later on. Let's align the arm now. I'll place this end of the bone around here, this at the elbow, and this is the wrist, and the end of the hand. I'll make it a little bit longer because we don't have any fingers in this rig. And from the top view, move the whole bone a little bit on the y-axis. Make sure that this is aligned with the elbow. The shoulder bone, I'm going to squash a little bit on the y-axis to make it a little bit straighter. This can be achieved, of course, by just moving the head and tail of the bone. And I'll place it like this inside the volume of the shoulder area of the character. This is sometimes called a collarbone, so you may align it with the actual collarbone of the character, but placing it inside the volume actually works better in most cases. These here are special breastbones. You can also delete them, but we'll just use this rig as it is. So I'll place these bones something like this. Next, I want to work on the spine, and the legs get in the way, so I can select them and press H to hide them. Now I'll box select over the start of the spine. It consists of a couple of bones, so I want to select everything and move it in the center of the body of the character. Do not adjust the neck connection yet. We'll come back to it in a second. I may want to move these bones back a little bit. These bones can also be safely deleted if you don't want them. They are supposed to help with the automatic weights when we apply them later. I'll just keep them and align them like this. Okay, now we come to the spine. And here is something that you should always keep in mind when working with Rigify. If I select the neck of the character, I can move it and disconnect it from the spine. If you do this, you will get an error and your rig will not generate. I'll show it to you in a second. So now I'll right click to cancel the movement, and my neck bone and spine bone will still be overlapping and connected. So now, to avoid any errors, I can just box select over this area and align these two bones as if they were connected. I'll keep aligning the neck. This is the head bone, and so the head, or the beginning of the head bone, will become the pivot point around which the head rotates. Right? If I go to pose mode, this bone rotates around this point. So a placement like this is good in my opinion. Let's adjust the neck a little bit. And we are actually done aligning this skeleton. I'll press Alt-H to unhide these bones. And I can go to the Armature tab and press the Generate Rig button. And a rig was generated for us. So now if I select the character and shift select this new rig, not the simple meta rig that we tweaked until now, but the newly generated rig, press Ctrl P and choose with automatic weights, then this can be the end of the lesson. I'll disable X-ray, go to pose mode, and move some of these controls. And the character is controlled by this amazing new armature that Rigify made for me. And we'll come back to the rig, but I want to make you aware of a very important feature of Rigify, which is that you can keep tweaking the rig after generation. You have to go back to your meta rig, edit mode, and you can keep adjusting the positions of these bones. For example, let's say that the shoulder didn't move quite as I like it, so I'll move this a little bit, rescale the shoulder a little bit, move the knee slightly, and the Rigify button now says regenerate. So if I press this, the rig will be reset and these changes that I made will be reflected in the final rig. These changes were very subtle, so let's go back to the meta rig and make something more drastic. Actually, I'll undo, disable X here, and only make this arm longer, and generate. And here is how the rig adapted to these changes. And the cool thing is, everything still works. Of course, because of the difference in rotation points, now things are a little bit weird. But it is amazing how forgiving the regeneration process is. These changes were just for demonstration. I'll undo. Another important point that I want to cover is the most common problem that you can experience with this rig. I'll press / to isolate the meta rig, edit mode. And earlier I told you that you shouldn't disconnect the end of the spine and the neck. But let's say that you didn't pay attention, or maybe you just disconnected them by accident. Here is how you can snap them back together. Switch snapping to vertex. Select the one end that you want to snap to the other. Move it, hold Control, and it will snap to the nearest point. Or if I disconnect it again and enable the snapping, then I don't need to hold Control. I just need to move the bone until it snaps. And then disable snapping again. Yet another way, select the end of the spine, press Shift S, cursor to select it, and that will place the cursor over here. Select this end and press Shift S, selection to cursor, and that will snap it as well. Personally, I like vertex snapping. Okay, so a quick demonstration. If I disconnect this, go out of local mode and try to regenerate, we'll get this very common error which says bone position is disjoint. So undo, snap your bones, and regenerate, and the rig will generate correctly. Now we've generated the rig, we've parented with automatic weights. If you haven't, select the mesh, shift select the generated rig, Control P, automatic weights. To use the rig, go to pose mode, and by default, both arms and legs will be in IK mode. To rotate the knee, you can use this widget here and double tap R and rotate it, or in nPanel item, under rig main properties, you can press toggle pole, and that will give you this traditional pole target that we also set up manually in the previous session. If you want to switch arms to FK mode, select one of the arm widgets and slide this IK-FK slider to 1. And now you're in FK mode. I'll switch back to IK. You have this main torso control, which will move the whole torso. A hips control, which controls the butt of the character. Chest control, which rotates the upper body. Shoulder controls, neck, head, and individual spine controls. If I enable X-ray, I even have these tweak controls, which I can move and bend the limbs for cartoony effects. The rig has many more options and controls, but this will be enough as an intro. And again, I would like you to take a moment and appreciate what we got in such a short time. This rig was much faster to create, yet it has a lot more features. In fact, you may have no idea how to create most of these features manually. So that is the power of auto rigging. It is fast, it is efficient. So I hope you're starting to enjoy the course, and I think we are ready to rig a complex human character in the next chapter.
Alright. So yeah, I think this is a good one to save. Because it's sandwiched right in the middle of the last chapter, which is kind of like a overview of like simple Blender rigging. And the next video is about using the complex rig. So I think this is probably like the best one to save. The last chapter, basic leader rigging. Next chapter, advanced character. Alright. That's good. It is 7. Well, first off, give me a moment. I'll be right back. Be right back. Oof. Honestly, I shouldn't have left. What I was gonna say before I left was, hey guys, it's 7. Usually, I stop Blender around 7. For a few reasons. Number one, I am starting to get a headache. Well, yeah. To switch something. However, I actually have to go now. Which is why I was like, maybe I shouldn't have left, and maybe I should just ended it before I left. So that I wouldn't come back and be like, I'm back, but I'm leaving. So it's like, really bad on my part. Anyway, sorry about that. Wait, hold on. Alright, let me hide that. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow, I'm going to watch, oh god, the complex human rig video. It's an hour long. It's, I guess, very complex. And that will be the end for, I guess, like, Rigify. So by tomorrow, I should be done with getting, like, a grasp on Rigify. Afterwards, because I think that's the first thing I'm going to do, and it shouldn't take up the entire stream. Unless I pause it too much, but I don't think I'm going to pause it that much. Afterwards, I'm going to look at the other videos I have. The other person that I saved, which was Royal Skies, has a lot of rigging videos that isn't Rigify. It's just basic Blender rigging. But he's the one who uses drivers and stuff. I might watch his stuff too, in case I don't want to use Rigify for some reason. Or just, I didn't actually check if Rigify, I guess I could check now. I still have it open. Wait, this is pose mode, right? Oh, it does. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know if Rigify has, like, some sort of, like, twist bones. But it does seem to have some sort of twist bones. Which is nice. Okay. That's basically what I was gonna say. That other guy, Royal Skies, has a lot of videos that aren't Rigify related. That teach you how to, I guess, add these fixes that Rigify does automatically to the default Blender armature. Honestly, if Rigify is all I need, then I might not watch those videos. I could watch them to, I guess, to like sort of figure out how to do it, because I don't think Rigify is transferable to, like, I guess, like Unity, I guess. So having an actual rig that doesn't rely on Rigify might actually be also very good. Although, like I said, those rigs require drivers, and I'm not sure if drivers transfer as well. Either way, that's something I have to figure out. I'll probably look that up. I feel like those are searches that I could look up directly and not watch a video for. So yeah, there's some weight painting stuff here as well, to do with mainly like clothing, not clipping. And just some animation videos here that I have that will be nice to watch. Especially now that I guess I'm getting closer to seeing what kind of rigging I like to do, I guess. It'd be nice to see how the animations are done as well. So yeah. Still a lot of stuff. And things might expand depending on if I want to learn more about one particular topic or not. We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you for coming along. I'll be going now. And yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. See ya. Bye bye.